and good evening, everyone. I have a very quick housekeeping note for everyone. In the unlikely event of an emergency, please leave all your belongings behind and use the exit at the front and the back of the theater. Follow all the signage and do not use the lifts. Also, you don't want to be the person whose phone rings at an event like this, so if you haven't already, please put your phones on airplane mode if you don't mind. Now on to the good part. It is fantastic to see you all here in BAFTA tonight for this UCD Alumni gathering in London. The energy in the room already says everything about the strength and spirit of our global UCD community, and we are genuinely grateful that you've all decided to be here tonight. We have a superb panel lined up this evening, alumni who exemplify the curiosity, courage, and impact that define UCD. Thank you to each of them for giving their time and insight. We're also delighted to welcome UCD President Orla Feely, who has kindly stepped in at very short notice, as our panelist Teresa Lamb was unable to join due to an unexpected family matter. Orla will share an update on UCD's direction and ambitions before joining the panel to reflect on her journey from student to alumna to president of UCD. It's a powerful reminder, in our view, of the lifelong connections we share with our alma mater. A very special thank you to our brilliant MC this evening, Ryan Tubridy. Ryan brings not only his trademark warmth and wit, but also an extraordinary ability to draw out stories, spark conversation, and create moments that feel both intimate and memorable, and we're delighted he's with us tonight. I also want to say that events like this don't just happen. They reflect real ambition to deepen and expand our alumni community here in London and across the globe. To the team behind tonight, thank you for making it happen. And to you, our alumni, sincere thanks to you. When you mentor students, champion UCD in your industries, return as speakers, or support students and research, you don't just stay connected, you actively shape the future of the university. Your engagement has a real impact. Before we begin, we'd like to share a short video, a snapshot of some of the latest developments and ambitions from UCD. It's a reminder that UCD continues to evolve, to innovate, and to lead, powered in no small part by the strength of this global community. Please enjoy the video.
Since our foundation in 1854, UCD has always been at the heart of Irish culture and society, and an essential driver of the economic and industrial transformation of the country. Today, we are proud to be Ireland's global university, partnering around the world and with an alumni network spanning over 180 countries. It's a very busy time for UCD as we continue to grow in scale, impact and ambition, guided by our motto, Ad Astra, to the stars. We want you, our alumni, to be as proud of your university as we are of you. The programme of development currently underway on our campuses is the largest we have ever delivered, supporting an outstanding experience for our students and the very best in education and research. If you've not been in Belfield for some time, please do drop in. You will be amazed by what you see here.
It was a full circle moment for me to come back here and to work on the construction of multiple capital projects, including the Residential Master Plan Phase 1, the O'Brien Centre for Science Phase 3, and most recently, the O'Connor Centre for Learning. The James Joyce Library is being completely transformed, and the O'Brien Centre for Science is now a world-class teaching and research facility. The sports amenities at UCD are also second to none, including an Olympic-sized swimming pool, gyms and multiple pitches and a state-of-the-art running track. And further enhancements are also underway. I'm proud to be an alumnus of a world-class university and grateful to remain connected to UCD through its alumni community.
We also continue to enhance our campuses beyond Belfield, including major developments on the magnificent Lyons Farm, which supports teaching and research in agricultural and veterinary science and sustainable food systems. Sustainability is to the fore in everything we do as a university, and UCD consistently ranks among the top 50 universities worldwide for sustainability. UCD continues to break boundaries in research and innovation. Our students and faculty worked with industry partners to build and launch Ireland's first space satellite, AirSat-1, and we are to the fore in the development of the Irish space sector. We are drawing on our capabilities in digital technologies, research, education, ethics and policy to deliver important impact in the area of artificial intelligence, and we are solving diverse global health challenges through transdisciplinary collaboration under the One Health approach, which recognises the interconnectedness of human, animal and planetary health. The UCD One Health Centre was designated the first World Health Organization collaborating centre for One Health in Europe.
UCD provides an outstanding environment for collaborative transdisciplinary research. In my own field of precision medicine, clinical and research scientists are working to revolutionize treatments for childhood cancer patients. UCD is co-leading a clinical study called Magic Eye, which harnesses the power of genetics, genomics and big data to optimize future treatments for individual patients. Ongoing developments in UCD research promise to transform the outcomes of children with cancer and impact the future of global healthcare.
UCD is an amazing place to study. It is a world-class and ambitious university breaking boundaries in research and solving diverse global health challenges through the One Health approach. I founded the non-profit organization AWA, Achieve with Agogo, to drive global change in education by helping young people from all backgrounds to believe in themselves and succeed in their studies. Meeting students from all over the world has widened my perspectives and challenged me to grow both as a person and professionally.
Our faculty continue to win major awards and honours, and we are investing in great new faculty hires as part of our university strategy to 2030, breaking boundaries. Our outstanding and diverse student population continues to excel both in the classroom and also in extracurricular activities such as sports, debating, performing arts, volunteering and charity fundraising.
I always knew that I wanted to work for myself. It was a natural progression for me to mix my love of makeup with my business education and develop my own brand. When I started Sculpted by Amy in 2016, I never imagined that it would be a multi-award winning makeup brand with skincare also and over 140 products.
I am so proud to have led the drive against cybercrime by founding what is now the Garda National Cybercrime Bureau, as well as being the founding head of cybercrime operations and intelligence at the European Cybercrime Centre in The Hague. Myself and Professor Joe Carty developed a programme of work which led to the setup of the UCD Centre for Cybersecurity and Cybercrime Investigation, and the launch of an online master's tailored to the practical needs of law enforcement.
We truly are a community in UCD, and you, our alumni, are a key part of this. We are immensely proud of our alumni community of over 343,000 UCD graduates and the impact that you're making on the world and on UCD and our students today. When you set foot on campus for the first time as a UCD student, it was the beginning of the journey of a lifetime, a journey that continues beyond graduation. You will always be a valued member of the UCD alumni community. We invite you to continue your UCD story.
Now, I hope you all enjoyed that. You know, those were just a few of the hundreds of thousands of stories that we might share. But I hope you enjoyed hearing from some of our alumni and seeing a campus that may look very different from when you were last there. Please take this as an invitation for any of you that haven't been able to visit UCD recently to come and see what it looks like now, because it truly is an incredible place. With that, I'm going to hand you over to UCD's President, Professor Orla Feely, for her address and then the panel discussion. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Jordan August Dave Golair. Seeing myself on the screen at BAFTA is not something I ever expected or indeed wanted, but
Great to be here. Great to be here in this wonderful venue, and thank you all for coming out. It's such a pleasure. It's one of the pleasures of my job as president when I get to meet UCD alumni around the world, to hear your stories, to tell you about what we're up to these days in UCD, and to keep that connection, which is so very important to us. So thank you very much for being here and for meeting one another. Again, the connection is not just with the university, it's with other UCD alumni. We have, I understand, over 7,000 UCD alumni in London, 12,000 in the UK. So it's a very, very big community, and I hope it is a welcoming community, and I hope that it is a community that brings benefit to all of you. So you've seen there some little snapshots of how UCD is looking these days, and it really is a remarkable university, which I'm so proud to lead. I graduated from UCD, and I'll be talking about it as you've heard, in a very inadequate substitute on the panel for Professor Theresa Lamb. Maybe talking about this, you know, I graduated from UCD in engineering in the 1980s. Just been talking to a few fellow engineers at that vintage when we were in Marion Street and Earlsford Terrace, coming out into an Ireland that was in a very, very dark place economically, but where we had this wonderful young population full of energy with a Rolls-Royce education. And, you know, many of us at that time had to leave the country for further education or for employment, but gained experience, gained networks, gained knowledge, and came back to Ireland, and were, I think, a huge part of what has affected the transformation of our country. So we had the Irish diaspora abroad, bringing the message of our country and its capability, and those within Ireland. And we've, as I say, seen an enormous transformation economically, culturally, socially, in every way in Ireland over recent decades. And I've said, and I've never yet been challenged on this, I think UCD as an institution had played more of a role than almost any other institution in that. When you look at the scale of our university and the substance of our university compared to the scale of our country, just think about the footprint of UCD around Ireland, around the world, and what we have delivered through that. And for me now as president, the question is, what should we be doing now? You know, so that was how UCD met the challenge of past years. What should UCD be doing now to meet the current challenge? And we know this time, as we enter the second decade of this really disruptive century, it's a time of huge challenge, also very significant opportunity. So how does UCD prepare our graduates for the lives they'll be living now, well into the middle of the 21st century? How do we support Ireland? How do we support the world? Increasingly, we are a global university addressing global challenges. So that's what we're about these days, and we're doing remarkable things in pursuit of that, in our research, in the education that we deliver our graduates, in the experience that we deliver to our students, and we want to continue doing that. And thank you all for your help in that. Some of the programs we've underway at the moment, and you got a bit of a glimpse of them there on our campus. If you were eagle-eyed, you will have spotted the development of our science building, the first building on our Belfield campus. We did a great job on that about 15, 20 years ago, but the old physics and biological wings were left behind. Now they are being brought into full glory, and it's a remarkable building now, and our college principal from science, Professor Jeremy or Jez Simpson, is here with us tonight. And if you have science background, Jez will be delighted to talk to you about what's going on in UCD science. Our sports facilities are magnificent. We're advancing them. You'll have seen the residences, something very big on campus since my day, again, advancing there. And we've got a huge project underway in our library. We have redeveloped part of the library already to bring it up to a fantastic facility for our students, and we're now extending that vision up and down through that library building, which many of you will remember at the heart of the campus there, the James Joyce Library, as it's now known. We're going to be housing our fine cultural collections in UCD in a way we've never been able to house them before, and bring them out to the world in new ways. So that's another project that we're just embarking on under the leadership of our librarian, Dr. Sandra Collins, who's also here tonight, who would love to talk to you about that project and about all our wonderful cultural collections in UCD. Something else that we're going to be kicking off, which some of you may have a professional interest in, is an endowment for UCD. I want, as a university president, you're always very aware that you are holding this treasure for a period, and then you pass it on for future generations in better shape. So I want, when I step down from UCD, to leave an endowment that will support the university into the future. We don't currently have any endowment. As you know, many universities around the world have enormous endowments. So this is something that I want us to deliver for UCD during my time as president. So lots going on. We will love to have the support, the advice, the input, the network of our great alumni in any way that interests you about what you're doing. So if there's anything there that piques your interest, please talk to us this evening. Please follow up with us, because we are so grateful to have the support of our alumni in what we do. You will have seen there a few snippets of our newest building on campus, the O'Connor Centre for Learning. A fabulous new facility, and I just had an email today from a mechanical engineering professor who spoke about how his class of mechanical engineers are able to do all sorts of new experiments that they weren't able to previously do in our facilities. That building, like I say, opening next week, named after the late Eddie O'Connor, a great UCD man, who was a UCD Students' Union leader. I believe he was known as Red Ed back in the day, for any of you who were on campus back then. And unfortunately, he passed away before he could see the building, but he gave us a founding gift for that building, and it's now wonderful to have him recognised in the heart of our campus. So once again, thank you all for being here. Tonight is about connections, it's about chat, it's about the network, so I hope that you've already had the benefit of some chat with those around you. I hope you enjoy the panel now, and I'm going to hand over to a man who needs no introduction, Ryan Tubridy, who will lead the panel. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you all.
Okay. Well, good evening, everybody, and it's nice to see you all, and thanks for being here and braving the spring evening to come and pass by Hatchard's without going in and buying a book. It's impossible, isn't it? Such a beautiful shop. Thank you, Orla, for your kind words, and we're ready to go here with our panel. So the way this works, just so you know, I just don't mind this. Can you hear me okay with the microphone? Yeah. The way this works is we have our panel here, like you're watching a chat show, but for nerds. And what we'll do is we'll essentially talk about that lovely collision between college and culture and creativity that is the UCD story. And when the panels are chatting away, talking about their experiences and what they did with their experience in UCD and so forth, a lot of it will resonate with you, and you might have a question to ask, and you might like to make a comment. And if you do, please raise your hand when we ask you, and you can, and that'll be really nice. Now, beware the karaoke syndrome, whereby you think no one's going to ask a question even though you're sitting on one, and then, like a karaoke, it's just when everyone thinks they're about to go home, somebody goes, I'll do it. They start singing, and then everyone wants to sing, and it's too late. So if you have a question, prepare yourself. Don't be worried. We'll make you feel welcome and happy and comfortable. So that's the idea. All right, I'll go back here so that I can introduce you to our panel today. Before I do that, I just want to make a reference, as Orla did, to Professor Teresa Lamb, who couldn't make it in today. Everything's okay, but we just wanted to say she was invited on because of her contribution from Oxford in the world of creating the vaccine that really saved many, many lives and put us all at rest. So I thought we might, in absentia, give her a round of applause and say we wish her well tonight. So thank you. So we wish her well. But Super Sub, the president of the college, has agreed to step in, and so I'm going to ask her all Teresa's questions. So it might be a bit peculiar, but we'll see how we go. Our first panelist I'll invite up to the stage is Oriole Cullen. Oriole is a senior fashion and textiles curator with the Victoria and Albert Museum, the V&A. What a lovely job. Welcome. Just to fill you, so she's curator of dress and decorative arts at the Museum of London once upon a time, and now lead curator on the V&A new permanent fashion gallery, which is opening in 2028. Dream job. Okay, who wouldn't want that? Okay, our second guest is Tony Chambers from the much-loved village and townland of Ballincollig in the county of Cork, President EMEA of the Walt Disney Company, if you don't mind. Welcome, Tony. Tony is, I have to look at my glass because it's such a lot, consolidating strategic priorities, come on, financials and coordinating the Disney teams, Europe, Middle East, and Africa. I have no idea what that is, but we're going to find out in a minute. He's 31 years with the Disney Company, so we could be here some time. And finally, from left of centre, Dea Ex Machina. Please welcome the president of UCD since 2023, a member of the Royal Academy, the Royal Irish Academy, president of the Conference of European Schools of Advanced Engineering, Education and Research. Just enough, a nice long title that gets you up into your seat. Welcome, please, Professor Orla Feely. Welcome one, welcome all. Well, Oriole, is it the dream job that you have working there in the V&A Curator? Give us a sense of what you do. It sounds intriguing. It actually sounds like a beautiful job.
It is. I mean, It's a wonderful place to work. It is a fabulous building. I'm based in South Kensington. We now have multiple buildings.
Yes.
We're opening a new building actually next month in Stratford in East London.
Right.
But yeah, it is a fabulous place, wonderful collections.
Yeah.
I work with the fashion and textiles, as he said.
Sure.
We have about 80,000 objects in our collections. So I was very excited though to hear about the cultural collections at UCD. So I'd love to hear more about that. And we do a sort of mixture of things. We acquire a lot of things for the permanent collections. We also hold exhibitions, which probably, you know, that's how we're sort of, most people know us through our temporary exhibitions.
You talk about Dior,
Yeah,
Taylor Swift,
yes.
Diva. I mean, these are just some of the ones that jump out, but there's
Yeah.
obviously other probably more
Yeah.
intense ones as well.
Well,
Are they all intense? I mean, I
they're
don't
all
know.
intense, yeah. So, I mean, it's a museum of art and design.
Yes.
So that sort of throws the sort of door open wide to lots of different areas. And the department that I'm in, we are theatre and performance, fashion and textiles, and furniture.
Yes.
So it's a strange one there. But so yeah, we have a wonderful sort of cohort of people who work all the time on exhibitions. So we usually have about 2 years ahead.
And would you look at the vast collection of things that are hidden in the bowels of any of these institutions and decide which ones will be plucked from the relative obscurity, if you like, or the shadows of history, and say it's time to shine again? Is that?
Well, I mean, that's really interesting saying that, because we just recently opened a building which is a sort of whole new way of operating museums. So that is also in Stratford, and it's our stored collections.
Yes.
And they're completely open to the public. So anyone can rock up and do their self-led tour.
Yes.
You can also order 5 objects, anything from the database you can order up to see.
What a lovely thing to do. And
Yeah,
again,
so
making it accessible. That's one of the things I love about the V&A. It's so important about even museums in Ireland, the National Gallery and so on, and the National Museums. They're free. They're very democratic. They're, you know, and I love that about these museums. I'll come back to you because I'm absolutely taken by what you do for a living. It's probably a secret job I'd love to covet at some stage. Tony, I've got to come to you. Walt Disney, already I'm excited. It's such a colourful name and such an exciting, well, I was going to say job title, but certainly company that you work for. Tell us a bit about what you do there, if you don't mind.
All right,
Because just a bit of background. I hadn't met Tony before. We were chatting before with everyone, and we got into, as you know, we got into a big movie. I'm a big movie buff. But your knowledge of we don't agree on anything.
No, but that's the wonder of the movies.
It's the wonder of the movies. Tell us about your job.
So I've been with Disney 31 years.
Yes.
4 countries: Germany, Netherlands, UK, US, and now back in the UK. 13 different jobs across the company. I'm currently responsible for everything Disney related that's not parks in Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So movies. If ever you buy a movie on EHV or on Sky Store, that's
you.
That's the team.
Are you the Disney Channel? Is that you as well?
Disney Channel,
which is the new
consumer products. So I look after.
Do you have to watch everything that's produced from Disney?
100%.
Yeah. For the record, he shook his head, my lord. So you don't. But you do have to watch. I presume a lot. Are you goggle-eyed watching stuff?
No, but that's why we were having the conversation about lots of movies.
Because you knew everything.
No. I don't.
In a good way. No.
But I have not only do I have to watch ours, I have to watch the competition as well. So a lot of the 31 years I was on the film side.
Yes.
So first home entertainment. So for those of you who are my age in the 50s, my first movie that I released was Cool Runnings on VHS
Just
rental.
won the world, Tony.
VHS rental in 1995.
Right.
And so that was home entertainment, physical VHS.
Yes.
Went through the DVD days, and then I moved across into theatrical or the movie side in 2006.
Yeah.
And then love movies.
So you're again loads to come back to. So we'll get into the university experience in just a moment. But just a kind of a scene setter. I dare say, do I need to ask you now what you do, how it's all going for you? But you've been there a couple of years now, or maybe 3 years in total, and I get the sense that you're enjoying the job. It's not an easy job. There's a lot of pressure on it, but there's 2 ways of approaching it. You either enjoy it or you suffer through it. But you seem to be enjoying it.
Oh, I love it. You couldn't do it if you didn't love it.
No, you couldn't, could you?
Yeah, it'd drive you mad. Yeah, because it's such
It would.
like it's such a diverse job. You know, as a university leader, like we're a big business. UCD, our turnover is over 900 million. We'll be $1 billion before too long. So we're big. We're not Disney. Okay.
Yeah.
We're not Mickey Mouse, certainly. Yeah.
Despite
But
the critics. Yes.
Yeah. But we're a big business. But we're also a community of scholars. We're a group of students. We're a group of alumni. So you have to, balance the big business with the community feel and the fact that every student, and we're getting to be a really, really big university now, depending on how you count them, upwards of 40,000 students in locations around the world. Yeah. But we need to know that every student who comes to UCD from Ballincollig or whatever, that they can find their home, they can find their people.
It's very interesting. I did ask a student recently what is involved in Students' Union, and I said, what's the biggest problem for kids? I said kids, sorry, excuse me, but for younger people. And he said loneliness was an issue.
Yeah.
And you must be encountering, I'm not trying to bring the mood down, but let's face facts for the reality that it is. When you have that many people.
Yeah.
And I always felt, because I came from, a big school, big Dublin, I was everything wrong with, for a lot of people, but that's what it was. And I often felt that people who hadn't come from that, it must be pretty tough to be coming up and looking at all these fully formed social groups.
Yeah.
And you're coming up going, I know, how am I going to fit in here?
I know, yeah.
So you're conscious of that, clearly.
Well, something we're very conscious of. So things like, stuff you saw in the video there, sports facilities, student societies, the library, these are part of the glue that binds a community. But I know that feeling because I felt it myself.
Did you?
I started university at 16, went into engineering, relatively few women in engineering in those days. I remember that feeling of insecurity.
You were quite other, really, weren't you?
Yeah, everybody else looked so much the finished product, and I knew I was nothing close to that.
So how did you conquer that, as a matter of interest?
Slowly, I suppose, but by taking baby steps. So I remember my first day on the orientation day in UCD. I didn't know where Belfield was. I grew up in Terranure, so very close to Belfield, but I didn't even know where Belfield was. So I cycled out with a pal, and then many of you will remember those huge, big tiered lecture theatres in the Arts Building, now the Newman Building, which still look more or less the same as they were then. I remember that's where we had our big session, and I walked into, and it felt like this bear pit of testosterone.
Okay.
And I remember literally walking down the steep steps. I remember my legs shaking and kind of looking in a panicked way left and right.
Were you 16, did you say?
I was 16 when I started,
okay. That is
looking
young.
left and right, where am I going to sit? I saw a group of girls. So I said, oh, great. So I sat in with them.
Yeah.
And then we had other girls come in and all kind of gravitate towards us. We're still great friends, all of us. But you kind of find your people, you find your place, and you realise that testosterone isn't always a bad thing.
No. I feel a whole sideline of questions, which brings me neatly to the bar. I noticed no mention of the student bar there. I mean, the bar was such an important. I see a few heads I was friendly with in college back through the days there in the audience tonight, and I think hopefully are nodding, Aisling, Sinead, or in full denial. But we had great times in the bar, but in other words, the social life was so important to the societies. We used to love the societies, and there was a great fun. Okay, all right, let's talk about your UCD experience. First of all, were you kind of filling out the CAO form and all the rest of it, and waiting? Did you get in and all that? Do you recall the excitement of going to college for the first time?
I think arts at the time in the 90s was for the undecided. A lot of the cohort.
How dare you?
And I think we can all agree, which is great in a way because there was a lot of people kind of experimenting, finding their feet, and what I loved about the sort of the professors and the tutors, there was a great cast of characters there who sort of fitted in with this. So I sort of didn't really know what I wanted to do after school, and I just thought, why don't my parents would just do something you like. So so arts was great. I ended up studying, actually I started off studying Celtic civilization.
Yes.
The first year.
Underestimated.
Celtic civilization.
Yes.
Which is very funny because I think they were finding their feet on that course. But it was great.
That's a very polite description.
It was fun. And then I did art history and English literature. And, phenomenal people who Gus Martin, Michael McCarthy, who's fabulous, Paula Murphy, all these wonderful people who were teaching. So it was, there was a lot of energy and Dublin in the 90s, I mean, you know, you were speaking of bars. I mean,
Yes.
but it was such a wonderful time, and there was so much going on. So there was a great social life, and you know. I think
You strike me as a Globe re-raw kind of person. Probably not a million miles away.
yeah, the pod.
The pod. Oh,
Tempest
sorry, you were in
Sands,
Cants.
Lily's
Yeah, okay.
Reynards. Yeah, anyway.
Wow, that's a different league. Gosh.
There was a lot
Okay,
going on.
you've
It was
transformed.
great, you know. I mean, it was. Yeah. But you know, the university was really fun, and I think you know, met lots of wonderful people there, and very inspiring.
And Tony, you're in the postgraduate world of UCD, is
Yeah,
that right?
but I grew up a bit like Orla in Dublin, so it was 17% unemployment. I'm taking it down now.
Yeah, no,
17% unemployment when I was in college, and so I always wanted to be an accountant. Rightly or wrongly, I always wanted to be an accountant, and the best way to do it, go to UCD and then do what was then called the DPA, which is now the EMEA, and then you got into your accountancy firm. It was a shortcut to get your qualifications.
Okay.
So I came up from Ballincollig. I think I was at the time the only person from the school that had gone to UCD. And I always wanted to go to UCD. But so doing commerce, doing the DPA was always part of the plan. But it was, I loved German. At the time, there wasn't the international commerce degree that you had now. But I was from a village, I was a bit worried about Dublin, to be honest, so I didn't see much of the pod or any of that live. But it was the extracurricular. There's Isaac German Sock. They kept my German going, got seconded to Germany for 4 months in '88.
Right.
And had I not had that, I wouldn't have been transferred from Pricewaterhouse Dublin to Pricewaterhouse Munich. Had I not done that, I wouldn't have started Germany, and I wouldn't have been here.
Wow.
Full stop. No,
So the doors were sliding.
No.
Yeah.
You just never know.
Yeah.
So
you never know.
So yeah.
Do you enjoy your time there in UCD?
Yeah, I
Are
loved
you-
it. No, I loved it. But coming in, knees weren't trembling. I knew nobody.
Nobody?
And, nobody.
And how did you? I mean, obviously you've got the personality,
Yeah.
but how did you? That's quite fearful.
No. Well, it was the orientation day, and
Okay.
I think the vast majority. There were definite pockets. We had a reunion back in 2015.
Yes.
And of the 300 in the year, BCom, I think about 280 showed up. And we went back into Theatre L, if anyone remember, in the Osborne, and everyone automatically went to the same rows and the same seats. They went. It was just creepy.
Yeah.
And it's a lot steeper than you remember. It's a lot tighter than you remember, or maybe we've put on a bit more weight since then. But orientation, I met, similar to you, I kind of said, okay, I'm going to hook on here to people in the middle, and they're still friends of mine, so it's very, very,
Isn't that
very,
great?
very
What a nice
nice.
credit to them all.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that when you finished your time in UCD, can you give us a sense of your career arc? Because I know there's a lot of academia in there as well. But maybe what you did with your qualifications from UCD and how useful they were to you ultimately.
So when I finished up in UCD, I went to California, to the University of California, Berkeley, and I did a PhD there.
Yeah.
Wonderful time living in
I bet.
California, fantastic, the late 80s into the 90s. And then had one of those sliding doors moments, do I stay in Silicon Valley? And, you can imagine how my peers have fared in Silicon Valley since then.
Yeah.
Or do I go back to UCD for a lectureship? And, Ireland having come through those very bleak economic times, there had been hiring freezes in the universities. They were just starting to open up again. And I liked what I saw coming in Ireland. And, in those years in Berkeley, I saw it go from where being Irish was, you get a little pat on the head when you tell people that in the late 80s when I started. By the early 90s, people were saying, oh, Ireland, there's something brewing there, isn't there?
Yeah.
So, so there was a sense that things were happening in Ireland. So that attracted me back. So I went back, took up the lectureship in UCD, and then have had an entirely boring career since then, just going straight up the ladder in UCD.
Yeah. It wasn't boring though, was it?
No, not at all.
No. You're being very modest, but you had an intriguing, I should say, wander from hither and thither to get where you are.
And that's one of the great things about careers in academia. You can do all sorts of things, even though it might seem quite linear. You take on, you're doing research in one area and then research in another area. You do some international travel. You take on jobs outside the university to complement what you're doing there. So, universities these days are very much about, how do we engage with the world? How do we get our ideas out there? How do we network? How do we bring value?
If I could share a story briefly of my own just while we're here, and it's a big, clunky, dirty name drop, but it's the nature of the business I went into ultimately. But I studied history and Greek and Roman civilization. I dropped politics after third year because it was getting too philosophical for my liking and my brain. And in the middle of everything in the history, we studied Australian history. People often scoff and say, how can you, that wouldn't have taken you long. But there was a lot of history before, the flag went down as well. So anyway, the course of events, I wrote a letter to the former Prime Minister of Australia called Gough Whitlam, some of you will have heard of. And he wrote back this lovely long letter. Anyway, you think, that's great, that's not the name drop, it's better than that. Anyway, so I'm there doing the chat show, which eventually, for those who don't know, I presented a TV show in Ireland for 20 years, 2 different shows for 20 years. Yeah, I'm laughing too. And one of the guests was Russell Crowe. And Russell became, we used to go out after the show for a few ales, and he was a good man for a scoop, but I'll say I'm tall and skinny, so I couldn't compete with Gladiator, so he'd be going, another tequila? I'm like, he's just about to have a pint. Anyway, the point of the story is that we were having a few drinks, and I said to him, and we were all being very polite, and I said to him, do you know Russell, after a few Guinness, I said, I wrote to Gough Whitlam, and he wrote me a letter about it, and he went, you wrote to Gough Whitlam? I said, yeah. He said, we got to have a beer. So we sat down in the corner, and we chatted about Australian history for about 2 hours, only because I had studied it in UCD with Professor John Maloney, and we had a great meeting, and we've been friends ever since as a direct result of studying history in UCD. I mean, you would think after Greek and Roman you could talk to him about Gladiator, but I mean, anyway, Oriole, talk to me a little bit about your own arc then after you left UCD. I love your story about your folks going, just do whatever makes you happy, right? And then you go in kind of wondering, as you say, the undecided. What did you do with that degree? Because that's a big question. He says, father of 2 young women, who, well, they're getting on with their lives, but certainly one of them studying history of art, so I'm going to take notes here.
Well, my school, my history of art teacher in school said to me, oh God, don't study history of art, you'll end up in a museum.
I love that.
Yeah, but anyway, I'm not complaining. But when I was at UCD, there was wonderful Nicola Figgis, who was one of our history of art tutors, and I remember a moment there where we were studying the Grand Tour, 18th century, and looking at these portraits of Pompeo Batoni, and she said, well, you can date these by the clothes, and that was kind of a moment for me where I thought, oh my gosh, she said you can date looking at his jacket, the sort of buttons on it, we can look at this and say it's about 1760, and I just, that was a very transformative moment, and that's when I thought I really want to know more about this. And so when I was coming to the end of my 3rd year, I sort of thought, oh, I've got to get a job. I mean, I did have a job, but the idea that you have suddenly to move from students,
adulthood,
into, but I having sort of been inspired by Nikki and went to look up courses and found an MA course here in the Courtauld Institute, which was History of Dress through History of Art.
Yes.
And so that's how I kind of went into,
That's,
what
and
I
then
do.
so it began.
But it was a moment really where the sort of penny dropped, which was fantastic.
And if I may say to you, Orla, and I'll come back to you, Tony, in a moment, but that is a great story to illustrate. One of the things I find when I'm interviewing people in the last number of decades is there's always a great teacher. Everyone has a great teacher who just changed everything. That teacher could have become a counsellor or a psychiatrist or a parent or just somebody, like anyone in the room can probably go, yeah, I remember. And I'll ask you who was it. You'll say Mr. Murphy or Mrs. O'Brien. And you'll go, yeah, that teacher really put me on the path. You're all nodding because you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. But certainly that lecture in your case, because we're in 3rd level talking about UCD, that changed your life, that observation about the dress, which I think is fascinating. Yeah. What do you think, Orla? The need for great lecturers and communicators is so important, isn't it?
Completely, yes. Yeah. And I was so fortunate to have so many. I never had a single lecture from a woman in all my time, either in UCD or in Berkeley.
Good Lord.
Yes, yeah. So things have moved on, thankfully, since those days. But secondary school as well, I was so lucky. I went to Our Lady in Terranure, I don't know if anybody knows that school, and we had great teachers in physics, in honours maths, something that most girls' schools didn't do back in the day. Really wonderful woman, Yvonne O'Neill, Deirdre Kelly.
Remember them well.
Remember them well. I'm still in touch with them, and they are absolutely fantastic women, and they changed so many lives for what they did.
So important. Tony, you're nodding
vigorously. So I, Ballincollig Community School, we were one of the few schools that did German. And I was in one of the few classes that did German. Yeah. And one teacher, Miss Noelle Brophy.
There she is.
And it had not been for her, as I said, wouldn't have learned the German, wouldn't have tried to keep it. She just instilled a love.
I'd like to get to ask, as I was talking to Oriole, I'd love to get your walk through the House of Mouse, as it's called, the Walt Disney Company.
Yeah.
Where did this where did it come from? Was it a revelation, or was it a process, or what happened?
It was very linear.
Was it?
No. So I was an auditor in post-fall of the Berlin Wall, Germany.
Yes.
So all the German auditors would go to East Germany to value the East German companies, and the auditing firms needed German-speaking English or Irish auditors on a temporary basis.
Yeah.
So I went over. It was supposed to be for 2 months, and I lived in Germany for 7 years. Disney were a client, and one day I was just asked, did I want to be a county manager for the home entertainment business? That was 95, and I was 25. I said, nothing to lose. I only thought I'd be doing it for 2 years, and then 31 years later, I met my wife at Disney. I've got 2 daughters, 19 and 20. I was talking to someone today, and they were just talking about work-life balance. Rightly or wrongly, because when you work for a company like Disney, it is part of your life, because wherever I go, we talk about movies, we talk about, I've been to the parks, whatever, but I can tell you by a movie, a soundtrack, or a park visit, where my kids were, where I was, where my wife was. And so there's no separation, for good and for bad. But my 19 and 20-year-old, we're empty nesters now. And I said to them, I said, look, we'll probably have one summer holiday together. I went, where do you want to go?
You let us.
No. I said, where do you want to go? And they went, the parks.
The parks.
In Florida.
Was that a nostalgia thing?
No. They were just. They go. We've been so many times. They have such a special connection. To it. So no matter what I do, what I ever do, what I've ever done, it's an intrinsic part of who I am. So no matter where I've been and whatever I've done at Disney. So
you obviously enjoyed the experience.
No.
You don't do 31 years.
No. Look. I can count. There's bad days, but look, with Teresa, who should have been here, she and the vaccine saved close to 6 million people's lives.
Remarkable,
Anything I do is not even in that league. We're supposed to bring magic, fun, joy, happiness, or entertainment, and that's at the other end of the scale. So anything I do, I'm not deciding life or death. I'm not deciding who lives, who dies, who goes to prison or not. We're supposed to entertain. So it's supposed to be fun, and if I can't embody it, then we're in trouble.
Okay, fair answer. We're going to take some questions from the floor. If anyone wants to ask anything now, raise your hand if you wouldn't mind, and we'll get a microphone to you straight away. If you don't worry about it, because we can just keep moving on. But just do it. Don't brush your hair just now. That's not a good move. Okay, right up the back. Lova Suis, there, we get a microphone to you. Welcome. Thank you. You don't normally need a microphone. We heard that.
No, I'm just curious to ask the panellists if you all grew up in a family where your parents had third level education, or were you the first of your generation to go to college?
Orla?
I was the first of my family.
Were you?
You might have known my dad, Ryan Feely.
I did recall your father very well.
Yes.
Very
And Dad never got to go to university, but he would have thrived in university. But he was so proud. All his 4 children went to university. All went to UCD. Even better.
All of them?
Yes, yeah.
Good Lord.
And Dad always used to refer to UCD as the university.
That's
it. He'd say, my daughter Orla, she's working at the university now.
Oh, very good.
He'd be a little bit puzzled which university is that. But for him, there was something about UCD. Growing up in Cambridge, as Dad did from the 1930s
He was
onwards.
proud father.
Very proud.
No doubt about you.
Same for
First
me.
of your
First
generation?
One, yeah. And I think from the community school, if anyone went, they went to UCC. So I think I was the first one that went to UCC.
And was that treacherous, do you think, of you to do that?
Well, with a name like Chambers, it's not, no. No, I don't think so. No.
And Oriole, same question?
I know, I wasn't.
There were others in your background. Why do you ask the question? Just curious, yeah. Was it okay, thank you for your question. There's another question here, and thank you. There's another one over here, so we'll take this person here. Thank you for your time.
Hello. For me, the defining experience at UCD was the student activities. So I was auditor of the NH, and I got involved in USI, etc. And it made all the difference. So I'm wondering if that was also true for you, and if so, what maybe it was different. But I would hope anyway that you got to experience the same joys that I did, etc.
And how did you enjoy your experience there before we move it to the panel?
It saved my life. So
in what sense?
in that I was deeply alone
Yeah.
before that, and then I found my people, and I found.
And you
my
found your
voice.
tribe. And so when you say it saved your life, you're not being whimsical. That
No,
actually,
no,
it brought you where you
literally,
needed to be.
yes.
Congratulations to you.
Thank
And
you.
how's life going for you now? All good?
It's pretty
Are you
excellent,
based
actually.
pretty excellent? I like that answer.
Yes.
Congratulations. That's great news. Okay, I love that. What a huge thing to say. So this is the important. This is back to loneliness, isn't it? This
Yeah,
is about
yeah,
getting
yeah.
involved. It's about being involved, but not just about that as well. It's so important to be invited to be involved. I think that's, there's only so much you can do, especially if you're nervous or whatever. But
Yeah.
I think you've addressed that a little bit. But to the point of, did all three of you get into the society's thing? And did you join anything, or were you pretty much a soul trader? You're a bit of a soul trader. Okay. Were you a little bit introverted, Oriole? Or were you just...
No, I wouldn't say that, no. I think...
just couldn't be bothered.
Too busy in the pod.
I met some great people. I will have to say, I suppose, Hilper's Cafe.
Hilper's, yeah, there's another
Hilper's.
nostalgic kick. Yeah.
Hilper's was great.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay,
it
so that's
wasn't
where you
a
were.
society or whatever,
Yeah.
but, there was a lot of
You were into
people-
cafe society. Yeah.
But it was a great, great place to meet people and
Yes.
and yeah, that was fun.
Okay, that'll do. I'm not going to torture you with
I
questions.
met some great people made some great friends at
Yeah.
UCD. And I suppose Dublin, at the time was such a great city to be
Yeah.
out and about in too. So we weren't necessarily so campus-based maybe in terms of the social life.
Okay.
But met some really
Hilper's,
lovely people.
town Hilper's, theatre realm. What about you, Tom?
German society.
It's a German thing. It's
No,
huge,
no, no,
isn't it?
it's not. But the thing we used to do German, and look, I can't sing a note. We used to do German, compete with other universities in German plays. None of us could sing a note. But anyway, that was one way to.
That's niche, yeah.
Yeah, very niche. yeah, German. So,
But that's what it did. You find your tribe.
You
That's
find your tribe.
The point.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking it. I love
And
it.
I was best man at it was right at the beginning of the Erasmus program, the mid '80s.
Yeah.
And German students would come over, and the blokes would naturally hook up with Irish women. And
It's a different thing to American.
No, but a lot of them are now married, and I was best man at about 3 of them.
And is your wife German,
No,
Tony?
she's English.
Oh my
So
God.
my mum's horror.
I was. Your poor mother.
Yeah.
Where's she from, Tony?
Exactly. yeah.
Except it must have been great fun on Saturday watching Ireland and Twickenham, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
It was very much. Very much so. Yeah.
Fair. Now that I've caused a diplomatic incident, where were we? Were we on societies?
No,
Did you get stuck in?
Back in the day, I was an engineer in Merrion Street. So we weren't in Belfield, and relatively few of the engineers would have been in all the societies. But we had toners, we had a Dunhoes, we had Martigans,
They're still going, by the way.
They are. So that's where the social life was in engineering.
That's good stuff.
Was good
Was
stuff.
Hartigans in there?
It was, yeah.
Yeah. Spin the floor, tell me you love me. Okay.
Yeah.
There's somebody else up here. Yes, gentleman here. Thank you. That's two over here. Sorry. Welcome.
Thanks, very inspiring talks, all of you. In this country, we worry an awful lot about accessibility to university. And I think back on my days in UCD, and student fees are £100, and it was, it's an opportunity for a lot of people who are first-generation students. And now in England, it was probably similar, but it's really turned around quite a lot, and people worry very much about student debt. I'd just be interested in what the situation in Ireland is, and is it similar?
The situation in Ireland is not as bad, if I can put it that way, as it is in the UK. We don't have the issue of student debt that is such an issue now in England in particular. So the fee structure is different. For some students, cost of living is a problem. Cost of housing in Dublin is a real problem. Accessibility of housing in Dublin is a real problem. It means many students are undertaking long commutes. So we're seeing that challenge, not quite in the same way that you're seeing it here, but we're certainly seeing those challenges. And that's why, and there are people in the room who support students through scholarships, or Cochram na Féine scholarships and others, and why that is so appreciated and so important. Accessibility in other ways as well, disability access, international student access from all socioeconomic groups. It's very, very important to us in the university. We put an awful lot of work into it to try to ensure accessibility. But I keep pulling the discussion down here.
Yeah, it's a very legitimate question, isn't it? Because especially in the UK as a talking point, and in America you could offer, it's so prohibitive to have a joyful life as a student, because all you're facing to, aren't you, is just this mountain of debt coming at you. And I think that what you're saying is it's It's not as bad as what you're saying.
It's not as bad, but things like the housing, the cost of living more generally, there are still challenges.
It's not
there
an
for
easy
students.
thing, but thank you. Smart question, appreciate it. And we'll take a last question from you, sir, and then we'll wrap up, and then God knows.
I'd say thanks, Ryan. I ran Arts Day 2003 in UCD, and you came along, so thank you very much. But I would say international, because a lot of you work internationally. How do you play up the Irishness? Do you do that? And also, one of the things is it's my first networking event, and what would the advice be for networking here tonight?
Well, there's 3 cards straight up to them.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you top of the morning? Like, what's the story with where are you with your Irishness internationally? It's a great question. Tony, we'll give it to you there. Given that you work for Walt.
So I was in the US for 4 years, and I'd have to I get rolled out to present. And I would, everyone else from all the other studios at the time would be American, very much so. So one point of differentiation, I would layer on the Irish accent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not? I mean, it's an opportunity.
It opens the doors.
There's no doubt about it. I don't know if it works in the VNA or do they? You probably put on a very different accent.
I mean, it's really interesting moving here initially, and I didn't really. I had 2 friends I knew. And I remember actually I had a Saturday job in Dublin and on Grafton Street in a store, and there was a lady in there very chic, and she said to me, "Now, when you go to London, you'll look up my son. He works in the city, and he has a boat." And I just thought, God, I'm 21.
That's great.
So I was like, no, I'm going to make my own way, but obviously, it's not that easy when you know no one. Maybe I should have taken the number of that. But but I think it's. I don't think it was necessarily a big thing for me. And when I moved here, also at the time, I mean, things were very different in the 90s, and you just had the Good Friday Agreement, and people sort of said to me, "But you don't have an Irish accent," because the Northern Irish accent was what people here knew.
Yeah.
I mean, now you turn on the TV, it's wonderful. Every program is about Irish women, which is great, or sisters, whatever. But which is really nice, the presence. But there was it was amazing. Apart from Terry Wogan, there was just nothing that anyone connected to it.
Well, look at Jessie Buckley last weekend.
Yeah,
I mean, the first Irish woman to win a BAFTA for the Best Actor. What a great, can you give her a clap? Why not? Great result. Great. Okay, last word. President of UCD, Orla. Great creator of the vaccine.
Yeah, I know. What can I say?
6 million.
6 million
lives.
Definitely.
She'll be walking on the Thames on her way home. So, final words of wisdom before we let it be, as it were. What have you got for us?
Well, maybe on the lines of the question about the Irishness.
Yeah.
Part of our strategy in UCD is Irish Roots Global Reach. We know that we are fundamentally a university that is of and for Ireland, but we're also increasingly a university that is out there in the world, like everybody here in this room. There is an Irishness at our core, but we're bringing it out to the world. We're bringing our networking capacity, our history, our stories out to the world. And that's what tonight, I guess, is all about. It's about celebrating who we are and celebrating how we bring it out into a wider world.
Well, I've really enjoyed talking to the 3 of you and appreciate your lovely, honest and enjoyable answers. And it's been a lovely event. I've met some of you earlier on, and it's been great to see you all. I presume we'll do it again another time. Yeah. We're going to need a bigger hall.
And the night is not over.
No, I know. There's more. There's more to come. I was told in one of the Zoom meetings we had before this that you need to do something at the end of the panel discussion. I said, "What is that?" And they said, "Well, you used to say something when you were on the Late Late Show." And I said, "Oh, don't make me say this thing about the audience and a prize and all this kind of thing. I don't know what. I'm going to bring 200 gifts from home." And I said, "No, we'll organise it for you." So the good news is there is indeed a UCD tote bag with some goodies for everyone in the audience. Thank you very much, everybody. Good night.